The night was clear and full of stars. Minji Kim stood on the hill behind their house, her telescope pointed at the sky. She was only 15, but she already knew more about stars than most adults. Her long black hair moved slightly in the cool Montana breeze. "Dad, come look at this," she called out. Inside the house, Do-hyun Kim looked up from his work. Papers about dog training were spread across his desk. Since leaving the military 5 years ago, he had built a new life training special dogs. Not just any dogs, but the best fighting pit bulls in the world. The military still called him sometimes for help. "Coming, Minji," he called back. Do-hyun walked to the back door. His strong build and serious face showed his military past. As he stepped outside, he heard his dogs barking in their kennels. All 100 of them seemed upset about something. Strange, he thought. His dogs were very well trained. They never barked without reason. He walked up the hill to where Minji stood with her telescope. The moon was bright overhead, lighting up the empty fields around their land. "What did you find?" he asked, reaching her side. "Look," Minji pointed excitedly. "I think I found a new star formation." Do-hyun bent down to look through the telescope. As he did, a strange humming sound filled the air. The dog's barking grew louder, more urgent. "Do you hear that?" he asked, standing up straight. Minji nodded, her eyes now wide with fear rather than excitement. "Dad, what is it?" The humming grew louder. Then, without warning, a bright light appeared directly above them. It was so bright that they had to shield their eyes. "Get back to the house," Do-hyun shouted, grabbing Minji's arm. But before they could move, the light became even brighter. Do-hyun felt his daughter's hand slip from his grip. "Dad!" Minji screamed. Do-hyun tried to reach for her, but couldn't move. It was as if his feet were stuck to the ground. The light was so intense now that he could barely see. But what he did see made his blood run cold. 3 tall, gray figures stood around Minji. They were at least 7 feet tall with long, thin arms and legs. Their heads were large with huge black eyes. They weren't human. One of the creatures touched Minji's forehead with a long finger. She immediately fell limp. Then, as Do-hyun watched in horror, they lifted her off the ground. The 3 figures, carrying his unconscious daughter, began to rise into the air toward the source of the light. "No," Do-hyun shouted, fighting against whatever force held him in place. "Minji." The dog's barking had become a frenzy. The sound of 100 powerful pit bulls trying to break free from their kennels echoed through the night. With a final surge of light, the figures carrying Minji disappeared into what Do-hyun could now see was some kind of craft hovering above. The craft was metal, shaped like a disc, with strange markings along its side. As quickly as it had appeared, the craft shot upward into the night sky, leaving only a faint trail of light. The force holding Do-hyun suddenly released. He fell to his knees, staring at the sky where his daughter had vanished. The security cameras. Do-hyun remembered the cameras he had installed around the property. Running back to the house, he pushed through the door and went straight to his computer. The dogs were still barking wildly. His hands shook as he pulled up the security footage. There it was, the strange light, the 3 tall figures, Minji being lifted into the air. It was all real. Do-hyun Kim, former Special Forces soldier, now dog trainer, sat back in his chair. His daughter had been taken, not by humans, but by something else, something from beyond Earth. In their kennels, the pit bulls continued to bark and howl. They sensed their master's pain. They felt his rage, and somehow, they seemed to know that Minji was moving farther and farther away, beyond the sky, into the cold darkness of space. Do-hyun stood up. His face was hard as stone. "I will find you," he whispered. "No matter where they've taken you, I will find you." The dogs grew quiet, as if hearing his promise. 100 pairs of loyal eyes waited for his command. The hunt was about to begin. 3 days had passed since Minji disappeared, Do-hyun barely slept. He called the police, but they thought his story was crazy. They suggested that Minji had run away. The security video showed strange lights, but the figures were too blurry to convince anyone. Do-hyun sat on the porch, watching the sunrise. His dogs were quiet now, but still on edge. They sensed his pain. The biggest pit bull, a gray male named Baeko, sat by his side, head resting on Do-hyun's knee. "We will find her," Do-hyun whispered, stroking the dog's strong head. Suddenly, all 100 dogs began to bark at once. Baeko jumped up, fur standing on end. Do-hyun looked up at the sky. Nothing. But the dogs kept barking, all facing the same direction. Then he heard it, a high-pitched sound, like metal scraping against metal. It was coming from behind the house, near the woods. Do-hyun ran inside and grabbed his gun. Back outside, he whistled sharply. 10 of his best-trained dogs fell in line behind him. The others stayed in their kennels, still barking wildly. As Do-hyun approached the woods, he saw smoke rising from between the trees. Something had crashed. Moving closer, gun ready, he saw a path of broken trees. At the end of the path was a small crater. In the center of the crater was a metal object about the size of a car. It was smoking, with parts of it glowing red-hot. It wasn't from Earth. The metal had the same strange markings he had seen on the craft that took Minji. "Stay," he commanded the dogs, who stopped at the edge of the crater, growling. Do-hyun slid down into the crater. The heat from the object was intense, but he moved closer anyway. It wasn't a ship. It looked more like a container or a pod. As he got closer, a section of the metal slid open with a hiss. Do-hyun raised his gun, ready to fire. Nothing came out. After waiting a minute, he looked inside. The pod was empty except for a small round device sitting in the center. It was about the size of a baseball, made of the same strange metal as the pod. Against his better judgment, Do-hyun reached in and picked up the device. As soon as his fingers touched it, the device lit up. A beam of light shot out from the top, forming a picture in the air above it. The image showed a large space station. It was massive, with many rings spinning around a central core. Then the image changed, showing the inside of the station. Do-hyun's heart stopped when he saw what was there. Minji, his daughter, was floating in some kind of clear container filled with liquid. She appeared to be sleeping. Around her were other containers with other young humans. Children, teenagers, all floating in the same strange liquid. The image changed again, showing what looked like a map. It showed Earth, then the Moon, then Mars, and finally Jupiter. Near Jupiter, a small dot blinked. The space station. One more image appeared, strange symbols that Do-hyun couldn't read. But below them was something he could understand. Numbers. Coordinates. The light from the device shut off. Do-hyun stood in the crater, holding the alien device, his mind racing. The aliens had sent this. They wanted him to know where Minji was. But why? A new sound came from the device. A voice. It wasn't speaking any human language. But somehow, Do-hyun understood. "The girl is special," the voice said. "Her mind is different. We need more like her. This was not meant for you to find. Return to your dwelling. Forget the girl." Do-hyun's grip tightened on the device. The voice continued. "We are the Veldare Confederation. We have been studying humans for centuries. The girl will help us understand. She will not be harmed." "You took my daughter," Do-hyun said through clenched teeth. "I will find you. I will get her back." There was a pause before the voice spoke again. "Impossible. Our station orbits your Jupiter. No human can reach us." The device went dark. Do-hyun stood still for a long moment. Then he climbed out of the crater, the device still in his hand. The dogs watched him, waiting for a command. Do-hyun looked at them, then at the sky in the direction of Jupiter. "They don't know humans very well," he said. "And they don't know about you." Do-hyun pulled out his phone. There was one person who might believe him. One person who might be able to help. Dr. Park, he said when she answered. I need your help. It's about aliens. They took Minji. And I'm going to get her back. Dr. Ju Park arrived at Do-hyun's house the next morning. She was a small woman with short hair and serious eyes. She had worked with Do-hyun in the military years ago. Now she worked for a secret government lab. Show me, she said as soon as she stepped out of her black car. Do-hyun led her to his garage where he had moved the alien device. Dr. Park circled it slowly, taking pictures with a special camera. You were right to call me, she said. The government has known about aliens for 15 years. We found a crashed ship in the ocean. We've been studying it ever since. Can you help me get to Minji? Do-hyun asked. Dr. Park nodded. We have a ship. It's small, but it works. We made it using alien technology. It can reach Jupiter in 3 days. 3 days? Do-hyun was shocked. Even the fastest rockets took years to reach Jupiter. The aliens use something called fold space. It's like taking a shortcut through space, Dr. Park explained. But there's a problem. The ship is small. It can only carry one person. Do-hyun looked out the window at his kennels. His dogs were watching, as if they knew what was being discussed. I need to bring my dogs, he said. Dr. Park laughed. That's impossible. There's barely room for you. Then make room, Do-hyun said firmly. These aren't normal dogs. The military paid me to breed and train them for special operations. They're smarter and stronger than any dog you've ever seen. If I'm going to fight aliens, I need them. Dr. Park looked at the dogs, then back at Do-hyun. How many? All 100. She shook her head. The ship isn't that big. Maybe 10 at most. Then we need a bigger ship. Dr. Park was quiet for a moment. Then she made a call. She spoke quietly, then hung up. There's a prototype carrier. It was designed to transport troops and vehicles. We built it using the alien technology, but we've never tested it in space. It might work. Do-hyun nodded. I need equipment for the dogs too. Armor, weapons, anything you have. What are you planning, Do-hyun? I'm going to get my daughter back, and I'm going to make sure these aliens never take another child from Earth. Over the next 2 days, Do-hyun worked with Dr. Park's team. They brought the prototype ship to an empty field near his house. It was bigger than he expected, about the size of a large bus. The team also brought special gear for the dogs. There were vests made of a light but strong material, small devices that attached to the dogs' heads. These are neural translators, Dr. Park explained. They help the dogs understand complex commands. We developed them for military operations. Your dogs will understand exactly what you want them to do. Do-hyun trained his dogs with the new equipment. They learned quickly. The neural translators made a huge difference. Now the dogs could understand plans, strategy, even respond to specific situations without direct commands. On the night before they were set to leave, Dr. Park showed Do-hyun one more thing. This is for you, she said, handing him a small metal box. Inside was a suit unlike anything Do-hyun had ever seen. It was black and seemed to be made of the same material as the dog vests. It's based on the alien technology. It will protect you from radiation in space. It also makes you stronger and faster. The helmet has a translator built in. You'll be able to understand the aliens. Do-hyun put on the suit. It fit perfectly, like a second skin. When he put on the helmet, the world looked different. He could see heat, movement, even small details far away. One more thing, Dr. Park said. She handed him a small gun. This doesn't fire bullets. It uses energy. It will work in space where regular guns won't. That night, Do-hyun couldn't sleep. He sat with his dogs, checking their equipment one last time. Each dog now wore a protective vest and a neural translator. The bigger dogs also carried small packs with tools and medical supplies. Baeko sat at Do-hyun's feet, looking up at him with intelligent eyes. Tomorrow we go to space, Do-hyun told the dog. We're going to find Minji. Baeko seemed to understand. He put his head on Do-hyun's knee. As the sun rose, Do-hyun and his army of dogs boarded the ship. Dr. Park stood at the door. The coordinates are set. The ship knows where to go. Be careful, Do-hyun. We don't know what's waiting for you up there. Do-hyun nodded. Thank you, Ju-woo. The door closed. The ship's engines started with a low hum. Outside, Dr. Park and her team stepped back as the ship slowly rose from the ground. Inside, Do-hyun sat in the pilot's seat. His dogs were secured in special harnesses. They were calm, ready for the mission. Let's go get her, Do-hyun said, pressing the launch button. The ship shot up into the sky, heading for Jupiter, heading for war. The ship moved through space faster than Do-hyun thought possible. Earth quickly became a small blue dot behind them, then disappeared completely. The dogs adjusted to zero gravity better than expected. They floated around the ship, pushing off walls with their strong legs. Do-hyun spent the first day learning to control the ship. The alien technology was strange, but somehow felt natural to use. He didn't need to press buttons. He just had to think about what he wanted the ship to do. Ship, show me our path to Jupiter, Do-hyun said. A 3D map appeared in front of him. A red line showed their course. They were already past the moon. Mars would come next, then the asteroid belt, and finally Jupiter. Baeko floated up beside him, looking at the map with curious eyes. The neural translator on the dog's head glowed softly. We'll be there soon, boy, Do-hyun told him. Then we find Ninji. On the second day, as they passed Mars, an alarm sounded through the ship. Do-hyun rushed to the control room. The screen showed another ship approaching fast. Ship, identify, Do-hyun commanded. Unknown vessel. Design matches Velderi scout ship. The ship's computer answered. Do-hyun's heart raced. The aliens had found them. He called 10 of his best dogs to the control room. The other 90 secured themselves in the cargo area as they had been trained. Prepare for possible combat, Do-hyun told the dogs. They moved into position, floating near the doors and hatches. The alien ship came alongside them. It was sleek and silver, about the same size as Do-hyun's ship. A voice came through the speakers. Human vessel, stop your engines. You are in restricted space. Do-hyun didn't respond. Instead, he told the ship to speed up. The alien craft matched their speed. Final warning, human vessel. Stop, or we will fire. Do-hyun turned to his dogs. Get ready. A beam of energy shot from the alien ship, hitting Do-hyun's vessel. The lights flickered, but the ship kept moving. Return fire, Do-hyun ordered. His ship fired back, hitting the alien craft's engines. The Velderi ship slowed, trailing smoke or some kind of vapor. Now we board them, Do-hyun said. He put on his helmet and checked his energy gun. Ship, get us close and attached to their airlock. The ship moved alongside the damaged alien craft. With a loud clang, the two ships connected. Baeko, Shuri, Dami, Maru, Hana, with me, Do-hyun commanded. Juno, Taeyang, Nabi, Daesum, guard our ship. The 5 chosen dogs moved to the airlock with Do-hyun. They were wearing their protective vests and neural translators. Do-hyun had also given them each a small device attached to their vests. Remember your training, he told them. These are not humans. They will look strange and smell strange. But they are the enemy. They took Minji. The dogs growled, understanding. Their eyes were focused, ready for battle. The airlock opened. Do-hyun pushed through first, energy gun ready. The dogs followed, using small thrusters on their vests to move in zero gravity. The inside of the alien ship was strange. The walls glowed with a soft green light. The corridors were wider and taller than human ships would be. They moved quietly through the ship. Suddenly, a tall gray figure stepped into the corridor. It was one of the aliens, just like the ones that took Minji. It was at least 7 feet tall with a large head and big black eyes. The alien froze when it saw Do-yun and the dogs. It reached for something on its belt. Now, Do-yun shouted. Baiko shot forward, using his thrusters perfectly. The large pit bull slammed into the alien, knocking it against the wall. The other dogs moved in, surrounding the alien. More aliens appeared from side rooms. There were 5 in total. They held strange weapons. Take them down, Do-yun ordered. The dogs attacked with surprising speed and coordination. In zero gravity, they used their thrusters to bounce off walls and ceilings, coming at the aliens from all directions. The aliens tried to fire their weapons, but the dogs were too fast, too unpredictable. They had never fought anything like Earth's pit bulls before. Do-yun fired his energy gun, hitting one alien in the leg. It fell, floating helplessly. Another alien tried to run, but Shuri and Maru cut off its escape. In less than a minute, all 5 aliens were subdued. The dogs held them against the walls, growling fiercely. Do-yun approached the alien that seemed to be the leader. It was wearing a more elaborate suit than the others. "Where is my daughter?" Do-yun demanded. "Where is Minji?" The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. Then it spoke, its voice raspy and strange. "You have dogs," it said, sounding shocked. "We did not know humans fought with animals. Answer me." Do-yun pressed his gun against the alien's head. "Where is she?" "The station, near the gas giant, with the others." "Others? How many humans have you taken?" 52. All young, all special. Do-yun's grip tightened on his gun. "You're going to help me find them. What's your name?" The alien hesitated before answering. "I am called Taili, navigator of the Velderi scout ship Linar." "Well, Taili," Do-yun said, "you're coming with us now, and you're going to take us to that station." The alien looked at the fierce dogs surrounding him, then back at Do-yun. "Yes," Taili said simply. "I will help you." The massive space station came into view as they approached Jupiter. It was huge, with many spinning rings connected to a central hub. Do-yun had never seen anything so big made by humans or aliens. "That is Velderi Research Station 1, Taili said. The alien sat in the corner of the ship, watched closely by 2 dogs. "There are over 1,000 Velderi scientists and guards inside." Do-yun looked at the alien. "And 52 human children." Taili blinked his large eyes. "Yes, including your offspring." Do-yun gathered all 100 dogs in the main room of the ship. They floated in formation, waiting for orders. "We need a plan," Do-yun said. "Taili, show us the layout of the station." The alien pressed some buttons on a small device on his wrist. A 3D map of the station appeared in the air. "The humans are kept here." Taili pointed to a section near the center. "This is the high-security research area. Many guards." Do-yun studied the map. "We need a distraction, something to draw the guards away from the research area." He turned to his dogs. 30 of you will attack the outer rings. Make as much noise as possible. Destroy anything you can. Draw the guards away from the center." The dogs growled in agreement. Do-yun continued. "The rest of you will come with me. We'll enter through this maintenance tunnel while the guards are distracted. We'll find the children and get them out." Do-yun looked at Taili. "If you try to warn your people, my dogs will tear you apart. Understand?" The alien nodded quickly. "I understand. I will help you. But you must know, the children are important to our research. The guards will fight to keep them." "Let them try," Do-yun said coldly. As they approached the station, Do-yun divided the dogs into teams. Each dog knew its role. The neural translators made sure of that. "Station approaching," the ship's computer announced. "Entering communication range." A voice came over the speakers. "Unknown vessel, identify yourself." Taili looked at Do-yun, who nodded. "This is Navigator Taili of Scout Ship Linar," the alien said. "Requesting emergency docking. Engine malfunction." There was a pause. "Linar, we received no distress signal. Why are you returning early from patrol? Communication systems damage, Taylor replied. Please grant docking permission. Situation critical. Another pause. Permission granted. Proceed to Dock 6. Do-hyun's ship moved toward the station. As they got closer, Do-hyun gathered the 30 dogs selected for the distraction. Once we dock, you move fast, he told them. Create chaos. Destroy equipment. Set off alarms. But don't kill unless you have to. We want them distracted, not seeking revenge. The ship docked with a gentle thud. Do-hyun checked his suit one last time. The dogs were ready, eager for action. Begin, Do-hyun ordered. The 30 distraction dogs rushed through the airlock, shooting in all directions. Alarms began blaring almost immediately. Shouts in the alien language echoed through the station. Now we move, Do-hyun said to the remaining 70 dogs. Taylor, lead the way to the maintenance tunnel. With the alien in front, they moved through empty corridors. Most of the station's crew had responded to the distraction. They reached a small door that Taylor opened with a touch. This tunnel runs through the entire station, the alien explained. Few know about it. It is for emergency repairs. The tunnel was narrow, but large enough for the dogs and Do-hyun to move through comfortably. They crawled for what seemed like hours, but was probably only 20 minutes. We are near the research area, Taylor whispered. The human children are beyond that door. Do-hyun peered through a small vent. He could see a large room with clear containers lining the walls. Inside each container was a child floating in blue liquid. Some were as young as 8, others teenagers like Minji. How many guards? Do-hyun asked. Usually 20, Taylor replied. But with the distraction, maybe fewer. Do-hyun counted. I see 6. We can handle that. He turned to his dogs. Quick and quiet. Disable the guards, but don't kill them. The vent cover was removed silently. One by one, the dogs slipped into the room, hiding behind equipment. Do-hyun went last, energy gun ready. Now, he commanded. The dogs attacked from all sides. The aliens didn't stand a chance. Before they could even reach their weapons, the pitbulls had them pinned to the ground. Do-hyun rushed to the containers, looking for Minji. He found her near the center of the room. Unlike the other children, she wasn't floating in liquid. She was in a dry container, sitting on a chair, talking to an alien. Minji, Do-hyun shouted, running to her container. The alien with Minji stood up quickly. It was taller than the others, with a slightly different colored skin. Stop, the alien commanded. This human is special. Do-hyun pointed his gun at the alien. Step away from my daughter. The alien raised its hand slowly. I am Kyoto, chief scientist. This human female has been communicating with us. She understands our language. Do-hyun looked at Minji. She seemed calm, not scared. Dad, she called through the clear wall. Don't shoot him. We need to talk. Do-hyun lowered his gun slightly, confused. Minji, are you okay? I'm fine, Dad, she replied. But there's something important you need to know. These aliens aren't the real enemy. The dogs had secured the room. All the guards were subdued. Do-hyun approached the container holding his daughter. How do I open this? He asked the alien scientist. Press the panel on the right. Kyoto replied. Do-hyun did, and the front of the container slid open. Minji rushed out and hugged her father tightly. Dad, you came. And you brought the dogs. She looked around in amazement. How did you even get here? I'll explain later, Do-hyun said, holding her close. We need to get you and the other children out of here. Minji pulled back. No, Dad, you don't understand. We can't leave yet. There's something bigger happening. Something terrible is coming. Do-hyun looked at his daughter in confusion. What are you talking about? The real enemy, she said seriously. The reason the Veldari took us in the first place. They're called the Korath, and they're coming here. Now. As if on cue, a new alarm began to sound throughout the station. Taylor's eyes widened in fear. "No," the alien whispered. "They have found us." The alarm blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors. "Dad, we need to talk fast," Minji said, pulling her father toward the center of the room. The dogs formed a protective circle around them. Kyoto, the alien scientist, stood nervously nearby. "What is happening?" Do-hyun demanded. "Who are the Korath?" "The Korath are machines," Minji explained quickly. "Not like our machines. They think. They grow. They destroy everything." Kyoto stepped forward. "The Korath were created by an ancient race in this galaxy. They were meant to be servants, but they evolved beyond their programming. They decided that organic life is inefficient and should be replaced. The Veldari didn't take me just to study humans," Minji continued. "They took me because my brain is different. It can do things that most human brains can't." "What things?" Do-hyun asked. "I can understand their language without a translator. I can see patterns that others can't. And most importantly, my brain creates a kind of energy that disrupts Korath systems." Kyoto nodded. "We have been searching the galaxy for species with these abilities. Humans are rare. Only a few have this power, mostly young ones like your daughter." Do-hyun looked around at the other containers with children inside. "And these others? They all have similar abilities, but not as strong as Minji's," Kyoto said. "We were going to return them once our research was complete." "You kidnapped children from their families," Do-hyun shouted. "Dad, I know it was wrong," Minji said, touching his arm. "But they're desperate. The Korath have already destroyed 12 Veldari worlds. Billions have died." A new voice came over the station speakers. "Attention all personnel. Korath vessel detected. Battle stations. This is not a drill." Kyoto's face showed fear. "They found us. We must move the children to safety." "I need to see what's happening," Do-hyun said. "Where is the control room?" "This way." Kyoto pointed to a door on the far side of the room. Do-hyun turned to his dogs. 20 stay here. Guard the children. The rest come with us." They rushed through corridors filled with panicked aliens. None tried to stop them. They were too focused on their own preparations. The control room was large, with screens showing the space around the station. On the largest screen, a dark ship approached. It was unlike the Veldari ships. There were no lights. It looked dead yet somehow threatening. "The Korath mothership," Kyoto whispered. "It carries thousands of warrior units." "You have defenses?" Do-hyun asked. "Yes, but they won't hold for long. The Korath technology is more advanced than ours." Do-hyun watched as the station's weapons fired at the approaching ship. Energy beams hit the dark hull, but seemed to do little damage. The Korath ship didn't return fire. Instead, it moved closer to the station. "They're going to board us," Kyoto said. "They want to capture the children." "Why?" Do-hyun asked. "To study them. To find out why their brains affect Korath systems. Then to eliminate the threat." Do-hyun turned to Kyoto. "We need to get the children off this station. How many escape pods do you have?" "Not enough for everyone. Maybe enough for the children and a few adults." "Dad," Minji said suddenly, "I noticed something when I was studying the Korath data. The dogs might help us." "The dogs?" Both Do-hyun and Kyoto looked confused. "Yes, the neural patterns in their brains, when combined with human brainwaves, create a field that disrupts Korath systems. It's stronger than what human brains do alone. That's why you brought the dogs," Kyoto exclaimed, looking at the pitbulls with new interest. "You didn't know, but you may have brought the very weapon we need." A loud boom shook the station. On the screen, they could see the Korath ship had attached itself to the outer ring. "They're boarding," Kyoto said. "We need to get back to the research area." As they rushed back through the corridors, they saw their first Korath. It was not what Do-hyun expected. Not a robot or a computer, but something in between machine and life. It had a metallic body with glowing blue lines running through it. Its head had no face, just a smooth surface with a single glowing blue eye. The Korath was fighting 3 Velduri guards. It moved with incredible speed, its arms transforming into weapons. The guards didn't stand a chance. They fell quickly. Back, Do-hyun pulled Minji behind him. The dogs growled, sensing the danger. The Korath turned toward them. Its single eye scanned them. It paused when it detected the dogs. Error, a mechanical voice said. Unknown biological entities detected. Neural pattern inconsistent with database. The dogs, Minji whispered. It's confused by the dogs. The Korath stepped toward them. Do-hyun raised his energy gun. Attack, he commanded. 10 dogs surged forward. The Korath fired some kind of energy weapon, hitting one dog. The pitbull yelped but didn't fall. The other dogs reached the machine, tearing at its metal body with their strong jaws. Surprisingly, they caused damage. Where their teeth touched the metal, blue sparks flew. The Korath stumbled, its movements becoming jerky. Unknown interference, it said, its voice distorted. Systems failing. The dogs continued their attack. Within seconds, the Korath collapsed, the blue light in its eye fading. It worked, Minji said excitedly. The dogs disrupted its systems. Kyoto stared in amazement. The combined neural patterns of human and canine. It creates a field the Korath cannot process. More explosions rocked the station. They continued running toward the research area. We need a plan, Do-hyun said. We can't fight all the Korath with just the dogs. Minji nodded. I have an idea. If we can broadcast the neural pattern throughout the station, we might be able to disable all the Korath at once. Is that possible? Do-hyun asked Kyoto. The alien scientist thought for a moment. Perhaps. We have equipment that can scan and broadcast brain patterns. We use it for research, but we've never tried it on this scale. They reached the research area. The children were still in their containers, protected by the 20 dogs Do-hyun had left behind. We need to work fast, Minji said. The Korath will be here soon. They'll come for us first. As if on cue, the door on the far side of the room burst open. 3 Korath warriors entered, their weapons raised. Protect the children, Do-hyun shouted. His dogs charged forward to meet the new threat. The battle for the station had begun.